Well, hello. Yes, it's another beautiful day. I'm giving you a slightly different picture opening with today's wisdom as I'm on the dog path. And here comes Roxy. She's on the path with me. Pappy's somewhere. Oh, there he comes. He should be bounding into the picture anytime now. There he is. I walk this path all the time, so you guys have seen me walking it, but I've never really shown you that this is a path that's been well worn. Many people come out to the park here and they walk it over and over again, and you can see where, because trying to get as many steps as they can in, they tend to take the wide walk around the perimeter, and where they've been walking, it's been well worn. No grass is growing there. And I guess it's kind of fitting, looking at the challenges that we are facing right now with the ongoing COVID-19 virus and the virus of racism that we've seen popping up with protests from the death of George Floyd and others. And as I walk this path, it makes me think of a poem that probably most of us, not all of us, have had some exposure to, either in high school or in college literature classes, from Robert Frost, The Path Not Taken. And I think this path is kind of a metaphor for what we're in right now. As I wait for the lawnmower to go by, I think it's kind of a metaphor for what we're in right now. The path not taken. Here comes the lawnmower again, so hold on. As we are dealing with stuff that we never thought we'd have to deal with the pandemic, but stuff that we have been talking about for so long when it comes to the issues of race, yet we still walk the same worn path. Now, I'm not going to read the whole poem because I couldn't do Robert Frost justice, but he mentions he's a traveler in the woods and he comes to a fork in the road. And the last stanza goes, "I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence, the two roads diverged in the woods, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference." Are we making all the difference in everything that we do in life? Isn't that what Christ calls us to do? Okay, my apologies to Robert Frost. It's the road less traveled, not the path, but I think everybody pretty much knew what I was talking about. And people have come to me and they've said, okay, what is it about the George Floyd situation that is so different than stuff that's happened before? I was around for Rodney King. I saw what happened in Ferguson. The shooting of the gentleman in North Charleston. I think, for me, the difference is that there's always a certain bit of plausible deniability. In the Rodney King case, his lawyers were very good at saying, well, the police weren't really hitting him. If you look, they slowed the video down and see the nightsticks weren't hitting him, and Rodney King wasn't trying to defend himself, protect himself. He was not listening. He was resisting police. He was resisting arrest. He was fighting them. All right. And the Simi Valley jury bought that, and they found the police not guilty. But the situation in Ferguson, Missouri, we didn't see what happened in that police car where the struggle came in And so the officer was able to say, you know what, I was fighting for my life, I was afraid, and that's why the gentleman was shot and killed. Okay, people going, well, yeah, since we couldn't see what happened, you know, and we want to believe our police and people who protect us are good people. And the majority of them then, 99% of law enforcement who go out there and risk their lives to protect us are great people. It's just the one or two that mess it up for everybody. So like, okay, they could do this plausible deniability. But George Floyd was different. For 8+ minutes, people could see a man wasn't fighting, wasn't struggling, was laying there on the ground with 4 police officers holding him down, one with his knee on the back of his neck. And man is screaming, I can't breathe. And he's screaming for his dead mother. Now, people are shocked. People can't try to explain it away. Yeah, there have been some, and there's still some today. It's like, well, you know, look at Floyd's background, and George wasn't perfect. No, he wasn't, you know. And we don't know what happened in the car, maybe, but you're trying to tell me that the 4 police officers, after 2 or 3 minutes, when George was down on the ground, nobody couldn't have said, hey, all right, we've got him under control, let's put him back in the car? No. So that is the difference. And what is happening is you're seeing people from all stripes, all political backgrounds, all colors, all religion, coming and saying, this isn't right. People no longer could use the plausible deniability or that well-worn path of like, well, yeah, we didn't see what happened, so we're going to buy and we're going to listen to what the police said. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but you can find it online. Look at the initial press release before the video came out about George Floyd. You know, it was very bland and benign. And if you never saw it, then you didn't see what the official police department release was compared to the video. And it's up on my Facebook page. And you know what? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it at the end here of this wisdom from a dog park so you can read it. So what I'm saying is that now we are faced with the reality of what do we do? Do we go the well-worn path, or do we do the road not taken? Which is going to be a little bit bumpier. It's going to have a little bit more, you know, brush covering it. It's not going to be like the path you just saw here at the dog park. People have walked it over and over again. It's going to be a little harder. And it's going to call for us to really start thinking differently than the way that we did. You know, everybody's trying to, again, run to their political corners. This whole thing about defund the police. Nobody's talking about getting rid of police. No, we need the police to maintain, you know, our safety. But we're talking about real reforms that's going to make life better for all of us here in the community that the police serve. And it's going to make things better for the police officers who have to go out there day after day to protect us, who don't have an easy job. My years as a paramedic working alongside, you know, some dedicated police officers back in New York City. I know how hard they work. I've got friends who still work for the police department from high school. I lost friends in the police and fire department during 9/11. So I know how dangerous and how hard they work. But if we stick our head in the sand and say it's not a problem, then we're in trouble. So are we ready to take the road less traveled so that we can all have a better society, so that we can all live up to the American dream? The American dream is a mixture of all these different people from all these different lands who have come here. You know, people seem to forget that America is not like Germany or France or Italy or England, countries that had been around or people have been around for centuries. The idea of an American is somebody whose ancestors came here from someplace else. That's why we have Columbus Day and St. Patrick's Day. That's why we have Black History Month. That's why we have all these holidays, so people can celebrate their Italian and their Irish and their German backgrounds. We have our Oktoberfest. We have all these different things. People refer to themselves as Asian American, Latino American, African American, German, Irish, Swedish, you name it. We have all these different cultures that came together to form what we call America today. But that's why we are a melting pot. And it's that melting pot that has made us unique. But it's also that melting pot that sometimes we have to get people to stir up to get all the ingredients working again together. Thank God we're in a country that allows us freedom of speech, allows us the right to protest. No one, I repeat, no one's standing up and condoning the violence that has happened, and the burning and the looting. But those are opportunists. Don't let those people all of a sudden define what is a real situation. Because what happens now is the fact that people are going to focus more on, look at what these people are doing, rather than the core issue. And the core issue is, how do we make America a safer and a better and a wonderful place that we all know it is to continue to live and to grow up in. And all boils back to that thing over my shoulder again. It's the cross, Are we as Christians going to stand around and say, well, are we going to be willing to walk that road less taken? To maybe be uncomfortable, maybe have some suffering, maybe we're going to have some folks who may look at us cross-eyed at church or at the places that we work, maybe even be ostracized by our quote-unquote political parties. It's all a matter of are ready to stand up and say, we're going to do what's right because we are all children of God. Sorry guys, I had to take a quick pause there because Roxy and Pappy were playing a little too rough. But you know what? I guess that's kind of interesting because they're dogs and they're playing with different dogs. They play with German Shepherds and Poodles, etc., etc. They don't worry about what kind of dog it is. It's a dog. And they just get along because they know they're dogs. Can we do the same? Can we learn something from our fine feathered friends, our fine furry friends? Maybe feathered friends too, we have the same issues. I don't know. Bottom line is, we're all working to try to make things a little better. So let's walk that road less traveled and be ready to know that when we get to the end of this, as God has said in His Word, everything worked together for the good. All right. Peace, two fingers. Love, soul.